How are you feeling? You look so good.
You're so nice. I feel amazing. I feel really excited that I'm a mom. I'm like, all I want to do is give birth to babies and breastfeed for the rest of my life.
You are
my bedroom.
that is so different than how I felt right after I had a baby. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can do this ever again.
Well, can I tell you, I feel fortunate because I think it's kind of a, you never know how a newborn is going to be. They could be screaming 24/7 or you get lucky.
And she's been an angel so far?
When she was in the belly, her tummy was always an issue. It was always super small, and that's what they were worried about. And so she's working through her tummy issues. She has her moments, but she's so damn cute that I let it go.
So what's been the hardest part of motherhood so far?
Oh, the hardest part. I think the waking up to feed would be up there because I'm a sleeper. And also, no one really prepares you that when your baby's crying, there's like not something on them that says like, oh, she's hungry, diaper change. And then when you complete all the things that they say it could be and she's still screaming, it's upsetting because you want to fix it and you also want it to stop.
Totally. You're frustrated. You're like, please just tell me what's going on.
Right.
And you said that, are you really enjoying breastfeeding? Has it been an easy process for you, an easy journey, or was it hard for you in the beginning?
It has been amazing. And I kind of prepared myself for it to not be easy just because, even my mom had told me she wasn't able to breastfeed because her milk wasn't coming in. I wasn't latching. So I knew right off the bat that breastfeeding was not something that you just get to do. It's kind of something that is, like I said before, this whole thing is like a hit or miss. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, which is why I find it so weird that people ask, like, are you going to breastfeed? It's like, well, number one, I may not want to because it can be very isolating. And number two, like, well, I hope I can.
Yeah, no, totally. I felt that way too, because it's a very isolating thing because all the pressure is on you to feed the baby at all times. And it's like, even in the middle of the night, even if Randall gave her the bottle, you still have to wake up to pump. So it's a full-time job.
Totally. Like, and I didn't realize that. I'm like, okay, well, there are some nights where, I can have a night nurse, but it's like, well, you're still waking up to pump. So what's the difference?
Right. Totally. And I love her name. I mean, what is the meaning behind Ocean's name?
So how it came about, first of all, Randall loves the water. I'm a complete ocean fanatic. I don't mess with it because I feel like it's very powerful and I can't explain it. I don't know what's in there, but I'm the crazy person on like the Santa Monica boardwalk that's like, free the orcas, save the dolphins. So I've always been, I have an orca tattoo. I'm a huge fan of the ocean. And the reason I came up with it as the name is because I was in the Bahamas years ago with Randall, and I walked past a yacht that was called the Ocean Alexander. And I was like, oh my gosh, the name Ocean is fantastic. And I told Randall that I loved it and he was all for it. So we've had the name and we knew whether it was a boy or a girl, that was the name.
That's amazing. I love that so much. I knew in Ocean he was a boy, but he was a man, and I love the name so much. So I love that it can go either way too. I think that's so cool.
Thank you.
What has surprised you the most about your postpartum journey so far?
Oh, how soft I've become. I always knew that I was very sensitive, but this is like, and I want to blame it on hormones, me breaking down and crying every 5 seconds. And I'm sure it is that, but I just feel, I feel very in tune with life and a newfound respect for moms. That before it was like, oh, she's a mom. That's so cool. That's so cute. Now that I am one, I look at moms like they're warrior queens. Like, it's not easy.
No, totally. Did your birth go according to plan?
It was a fantastic labor and birth, which I was not expecting or prepared for because my pregnancy was so difficult. And it was a dream. I went in at 8 a.m. on March 14th, and she came at 6:45 a.m. on March 15th. And it was like, I slept like a baby that night. I'm like, how did this happen? I was so knocked out that when they broke my water, the nurse said, I'm going to change the pad underneath you because it's soaking wet. And I looked at her, I was like, can you just leave it? I can't feel anything and I'm exhausted. So like, I don't care if I'm laying in a puddle of water. It's all good.
I love that. What was so difficult about the pregnancy? I know you mentioned before that she had some stomach issues and things like that. Was that kind of what was difficult for you?
Well, at 6 weeks, I was bleeding heavily. And I thought, obviously the worst, because no one prepares you that bleeding, although it's not normal, it's common. And I think that we should probably be telling pregnant women that if you bleed, do not go directly to the worst, because it could be a number,
Right. Totally.
bleeding equals a miscarriage usually, which I was very terrified about.
Sure.
And that continued for about like 3.5 months.
Wow.
So they put me on bed rest. And then at my 20-week appointment, they said that she wasn't growing. So I was going in every 2 weeks, which is not really normal to be going in that often to make sure she was growing. Thank goodness she wasn't growing crazy and like they wanted her to, but there was growth. Come to find out, my placenta was aging quickly. So it was measuring full term when I still had a long way to go. And so it's so crazy because I think about my placenta and I'm like, I'm so grateful for that organ because, she got us to 37 weeks, which was our goal. I don't think we could have gone over 37 weeks, but my doctors thought they were going to be delivering Ocean at 30 weeks, which was scary.
Yeah,
So,
that is so scary.
Yeah, I feel very, very blessed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you had just had so much anxiety throughout your entire pregnancy. I couldn't imagine. That's got to be really difficult.
Yeah, I definitely prayed a lot during my pregnancy.
Yes, well, I'm glad she's here and she is healthy, and so are you. I mean, how has this time brought you and Randall closer together?
I mean, I look at him, I'm like, you're the father of my baby. This is so crazy because, I wouldn't say that I look at him, how do I even put this? I wouldn't say I look at him differently because I've always just loved and adored and cherished him so much. But the love is something that's so much deeper because we share this little human, and the ultimate goal is to keep Randall and I good so that we can raise a healthy, happy child. So the stakes are really high now.
Yeah.
And we talk about that often, that we have to make sure that he and I are always good and on the same page, and we duke things out and we discuss everything so that our daughter doesn't pay for things that we decided not to discuss,
Yeah. Have the hormones been super high for you, and have tensions been high between the two of you at times? Because I know when my daughter was first born, like I was just sometimes like a raging bitch at times.
Yeah. No, I just cry all the time.
Yeah.
Like look at me the wrong way and I'm like sobbing my eyes out. So I haven't been a raging bitch yet, but I'm sure that he had enough of the raging bitch before my hormones kicked. That comes with the Lala territory.
He knows what to expect. How are London and Riley adjusting to the baby? Are they so excited?
They are. London's in like her little tween phase. So I want to say that she couldn't care less about the new baby. She walks in like, oh, it's cute. Riley, the 7-year-old, is obsessed, completely obsessed. So it's really sweet to watch her. She has every single year that there's, a birthday, Christmas, every single holiday, she asks for baby stuff. And now she has a real life baby.
I love it.
So like she's beyond. She's over the moon.
I love that.
Sweet.
Did being a stepmom kind of prepare you for anything, or, it's totally different when taking care of a newborn?
Yeah, I think it depends on who you are. For me, being a stepmom, nothing compares to having your own baby. Like now I understand what moms had told me before. Granted, like I feel like everybody's different. I just think with being a stepmom, there's boundaries, there's only so much that I can do as a step parent to 2 little girls. So it's very different. And I don't think that it prepared me at all. It's two very different things for me.
Totally. And I know you, like I said before, you look absolutely incredible, and you showed off your body like just 2 weeks after you give birth. I mean, where do you kind of get your baby body, post baby body confidence from? Because, a lot of people, a lot of women are very insecure after they give birth.
I think I mastered the suck in that photo. Like everyone was like, she looks great. I'm like, I'm tightening it all up because regularly I don't think I look like that. I haven't been able to work out or anything because it's only 4 weeks, but I don't want to sit here and try to bullshit people because we all have different bodies, and I think they're all stunning and beautiful, and they create life, which is just a miracle and incredible in itself. I think I just have to attribute that to my genetics that I'm grateful for. But I just look at women who are pregnant, and no matter what they look like, I'm just like, how beautiful is all of this?
Right.
And once you give birth, it's like, you'll get the body that you want back. Take your time, just enjoy being a mom. And some people would say that's easy for you to say because you look like that. But it's like, well, it's easy for you to say because you look like that. We all have a different idea of what we want to look like in our heads. And it's so funny that it always happens to be whatever we aren't.
Totally. No, that's so true. Yeah. I mean, are you putting any pressure on yourself to kind of bounce back, or are you just kind of letting it happen?
I have my moments where I'm like, wow, my bum is a little, saggy. It hasn't seen a squat in, a really long time. And, you can just tell that things are a little softer. And there are times where I'm like, I'm really ready to start working out. And then I see my baby and I'm like, I can't believe I created this human being. And I'm going to go eat my donuts and my chicken salad because breastfeeding is making me so hungry. And I'm just going to allow myself to take my time because this moment is going to pass, and she's going to be in school, and I'm going to have all the time in the world on my hands. And I'm going to wish that I relished in the moment.
Totally. No, give yourself grace and time. And that's, like you said, it's just a blip in time, and you'll be right back to where you were. I mean, I know you said, obviously you're only 4 weeks postpartum, but are you already in like, I want to have another baby immediately?
Yeah, I thought I would be. I am not there yet. I am like in the zone of, I definitely want to have another baby. It doesn't have to be right away because I'm just so in love, and I want to enjoy her for as long as I possibly can before it's like, well, clock's ticking. You better have another baby or, forget about that idea. And Randall always says, you're so young. And I'm like, but you're not, I don't want you to be 90 years old walking into my son or daughter's high school graduation.
I love that.
But I definitely want another baby.
Yeah, definitely. How was Ocean's first play date with Stassi's little one? That was so cute.
They were so cute. It lasted with their eyes open all of like 10 minutes. But they were definitely engaged with each other, and then it was like feeding time, poopy time, knocked out, It was the quickest play date. Super fun for the moms though.
Totally. I mean, is it so crazy? I mean, I know Brittany just had her baby as well. Is it so crazy that all of you are having babies at the same time? It's going to be so much fun watching them all grow up together.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's crazy that we had, the discussion to have babies together, and then it actually happened, because I know so many women that are close to me that have struggled to get pregnant for many years. So again, it's just another thing that I think about and go, wow, I'm very grateful that we didn't struggle, any of us. And that we have like built-in friends, I think about it. I'm like, I don't want to go make new friends so that my daughter has friends. It's easier to just be like, my friends have kids that you're definitely going to be friends with.
Right. You have no choice. We saw that Scheana commented on your birth announcement. Have the two of you spoken at all? Because I know that she's about to give birth any day too.
We have, and it's been very like mommy oriented, just as a mom and a mama to be. I check in on her, she checks in on me. Yeah, and we've obviously had our issues, but this damn girl, she just, I just can't help but look at her and be like, I love you.
Mhm.
So can we stop the nonsense? You know, why do we keep attacking each other?
That's good.
We'll
That's
work it out. We'll work it out. I know we will.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. You know, it's nice that she'll be in the mommy group too, and you guys can all hang out together. I know that we've spoken a lot about mommyhood, but I want to also talk about your book. I have it. It was fantastic. It was so great. I mean, what made you want to write this and be so open and vulnerable? And I mean, I learned a lot about you that I had no idea before.
Well, thank you for reading it and supporting
Yeah.
the book. I'm really appreciative of that.
Yes.
I want to say that I wrote it because I thought people would be that interested in my life story.
Mhm.
But I feel like since I signed on to Vanderpump, there was like a microscope on me that I was not used to. And I kept feeling like I needed to explain certain things. And then the whole thing with Randall came about, and I felt like I was just walking into rooms with a scarlet letter on me and just this heaviness of me needing to explain how it happened or why I am the way I am. And even though these things had happened a long time ago, I was still carrying them with me up until recently.
Sure.
So for me, it was a release to write the book. It
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to tell the story of how it really happened. And it's going to be entertaining for a lot of people. And I hope that some people read it and walk away with maybe just feeling a little bit better about not being perfect or making mistakes, and saying that's okay though, because now I'm a better person for those things that I did in my past.
Of course. No, totally. Every situation is a learning experience. I thought that was so interesting in the book too, like one of the many things is that a psychic literally predicted your future. Like that's the craziest thing ever.
Can you believe that?
No.
I love psychics. So anytime someone recommends one to me, I'm like, I need to go immediately. And I don't know if she's still around, but I think about her often.
Yeah, I would too. I bet you got it right.
Yeah.
I mean, you also talk about how you were bullied younger as a kid. Does that ever worry you about when Ocean gets older and you kind of think about how you will handle that situation?
Yeah, I think about it a lot, especially because when I was growing up, there wasn't social media, and kids weren't just like getting cell phones at the age of 8, you know? So it does worry me a lot. And I think I think about the way my mom handled it, and she was such a safe place for me that that's all I will do, is be a safe place for my daughter and make sure that, she knows that she's important and loved, and give her, the toughness to go out into the world, but know that when she comes home, she can be sensitive and vulnerable, and we'll get through it together.
Definitely. I mean, your parents seemed like they were safe places for you throughout your entire life. And, something that I'm sure was very hard for you to open up about was having an abortion. But I was so moved by how supportive your mom was throughout the entire thing too. And I mean, what was it like opening up about this for the first time?
That was really hard.
Yeah.
And I think my publisher even said, like, are you really wanting to write about this because you may not get the feedback that you think you might get? And I was okay with that. Yeah. Because it happened. And it's not something that I am proud of, but again, it happened. And there are women and girls that are dealing with that and facing that choice every single day. So if I can make it a little, I don't even want to say easier, but if I can make them feel a little bit more at peace with it, then I'm happy, even if it's just one girl.
Sure.
And I was also worried about talking about my mom in that chapter, because I don't want, I'm okay with people coming for me. What I get nervous about is people coming for my mom. Sorry, I don't know what I'm getting.
Okay. Oh no, you're okay. I'm sorry.
My mom's just a really special human, and she made my life really great. So
no, I mean, what I took away from that was that your mom was supporting a daughter going through a really hard time and just doing the best for her. Yeah. And I can't imagine how hard that was for you. And I know you said it took months for you to kind of not get over it, because I'm sure it's something that you never really get over, but kind of come to terms with.
Yeah. And it's something that you know, again, this book was a release for me, and
Sure.
it was something that all of these choices that I had made and things that were out of my control, it was like, we're putting it to bed. It happened, but it's not defining you in everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, definitely. I'm sorry. I know you're hormonal and emotional.
I know, I'm like, where are my placenta pills to even out my hormones right now?
Totally. Have you been taking the placenta pills?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually really think they've been helping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like a weirdo with that stuff. Like, you tell me that something like here's this new thing, people are eating their placenta. I'm like, I don't really want to eat it, but can I take it in pill form? They tell me yes. Where do I sign up?
Sign me up. I love it. Another thing I'm sure you're putting to bed in this book is, your struggle with alcoholism in the past, your struggle with alcohol. I mean, were there ever days, in your recovery, you've been sober for quite some time, but have there ever been days where you thought about slipping up or came close?
There was only one time that I was really like thinking about picking up a bottle. And it was actually in July that I conceived my daughter. It was that trip in Puerto Rico, and Randall was gone filming his movie all the time. And I was just itching for a drink. And my sponsor got a lot of phone calls that week, I guess. And I got through it. I had the tools, and I think that's just the one thing that I would tell people who are in recovery is it's like, sometimes it's not just one day at a time. Sometimes it's 1 second at a time. And my sponsor picked up every time I called her, and sometimes the conversation was an hour, and sometimes it was 30 seconds of me just needing her to talk me off of the ledge. And there was not even a reason why I wanted to drink. It wasn't like I was having a bad day. It was just like, I'm bored and itching because I'm an alcoholic. But here we are, and I didn't pick up, and we're 2.5 years sober, and I know that there's going to be another day that's going to come that's like that, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Definitely. Well, I know you have Randall's full support. I know that, like, in the book, he has been your rock for a very long time. I mean, how are wedding plans going with the two of you? Have you guys even thought about it with the baby, or is that kind of on the back burner for right now?
We talk about it, but we have, we've postponed 3 different times now. So we're shooting for 2022. Neither of us, I finally talked him into not planning a wedding around COVID. And, it's going to be, besides the birth of Ocean, the best day of my whole life. And I don't want to make plans around a pandemic. I want it the way I want it. So even if that means that it's years down the line, that's okay. We have a family together, we live together, and we're good. We'll get around to it. We can have a commitment ceremony with just our friends. He does not want that, by the way. He wants it grand and big and a production. So we talk about it, but there's no plans. Can I tell you, so I have a bunch of things with the date April 2020 because of the wedding. So just random dates that don't mean anything. And now, Ocean was supposed to come April 2021. So I have a bunch of stuff that says April 2021 that's, again, worthless. I'm done with the month of April. It's cut off. We're not doing anything. No plans for this month.
No plans for this month. Well, that is good. I know you said in the book at one time you thought that James would be your man of honor. How are things with him now, and where do you guys kind of stand?
I'm so proud of him. Yeah. He's really, when you think about everything that we went through together, and we were both just like pounding alcohol and making a damn fool of ourselves. By the way, it was always awesome for TV. It's still the greatest television in the world. But just to see him thrive the way he is and sober, he was at Randall's birthday a couple weeks ago, drinking, water or whatever soda he ordered, and he's just in a great place. He looks amazing. And I'm happy to call him a friend.
Right. Not the man of honor.
Not the man of honor.
But happy to call him a friend. I'm glad you guys are in a better place. That's good. Any updates on when you guys will start filming Vanderpump?
We'll pick up cameras literally the day the book comes out.
What are you most looking forward to when cameras start rolling again, showing off this season? Obviously, it's going to look a little different because we don't have, cast members that we were so used to, but what are you kind of most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to, showing my baby, and I'm also looking forward to watching Scheana become a mom, because it's such a different, we went from 0 to 100 real fast. It was like, we're drinking all the time, having the best day ever, to like, oh my gosh, I can't go out tonight and I have to feed every 2.5 hours. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I'm also excited because I'm crazy like this and built for reality TV. I'm excited to duke things out. It's been 2 years of like pent up animosity that, little things that everyone's done where it's like, bitch, I have an issue with you and I need to talk to you about it.
Who's the number one target then?
Oh, no one's safe. No one's safe with me.
Is it going to be hard though without Stassi, without Kristen, without Jackson, Brittany? Is it going to be hard for you? And are you still kind of disappointed? Like, obviously we know why they're not back, but are you disappointed that they aren't able to kind of share their side of their stories?
I'm going to miss them very much, just because, they are not on a show with me anymore. This is real life, and I'm still very much in contact with them and friends with them. So it'll be very strange and a weird loss.
Yeah.